Hello, welcome to the Dark Side of the Library podcast, and today we're doing it in video. We felt really adventurous today. I am your host, Carrie, and I'm here with Katie, my co-host.
Hello.
And we are nerdy cousins who love to read dark, scary books.
Yes, we do.
Today we're going to talk about the really cool dark horror, gothic, blah, 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 dark fantasy books that are coming out in December 2023. But I wanted to let you know we haven't read them yet.
Yeah.
We haven't had our hands on any of them, although I almost bought The Curse of Penryth Hall last night.
Ooh.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
So we haven't read any of them. We're just going to show you books that we've researched that are coming out. Oh my gosh, we want to keep an eye on it. We're excited to grab them and buy them. And speaking of which, if you are watching us over on YouTube, there are affiliate links in the description below. If you click on a book and end up buying it, we get a tiny little commission. Thank you very much for that. All right.
Thank you.
So Katie is going to start us off today with the first upcoming book.
Yes, it is actually a sci-fi dystopia novel, which I hope 2024 we get more sci-fi creepy books, because I think I might be a little tired of fantasy right now. Anyway, this is called Afterworld. This comes out December 5th. It's by Debbie Urbanski. So this is what it says. It's a debut novel that follows the story of an AI tasked with writing a novel.
You often get tasked with that.
Right, now especially. Only for it to fall in love with the novel's subject, whose name is Sen, who is the last human on Earth.
Okay, the subject is a real person, not a made-up character that it falls in love with.
Exactly. And it's the last person on Earth. So
that might suck, or if I'm feeling antisocial, that would be ideal. No, I don't want you to die. I don't want our wonderful listeners to die. No, stay with us.
Oh, God. Okay, so here's the details. Faced with uncontrolled and accelerating environmental collapse, humanity asks an AI to find a solution, and the answer is simple. Remove the humans from the ecosystem.
Well, that would solve some problems.
They're not wrong, but you guys need to keep a little bit. It's like Noah's Ark, at least keep two. So Sen Anon is assigned to be a witness for the Department of Transition, recording the changes in the environment as the world begins to, quote, rewild. Abandoned by her mother in a cabin somewhere in upstate New York, Sen will observe the monumental ecological shift known as the Great Transition, which is the final step in Project Afterworld. Who came up with this system? It has to be the AI, right? It's not like the humans are like, all right, we're just gonna, the robots are right. Let's just sacrifice ourselves. So after her drones buzz, cameras watch, microphones listen, digitizing her every move, privately, she keeps a journal of her observations, which are then uploaded and saved, joining the rest of humanity on Maya, which is a new virtual home. Sen was 17 years old when the Digital Human Archive Project was initiated, and 12 billion humans have been archived so far, and only Sen remains. So we have our story worker, the AI, whose assignment is to capture Sen's life, and they set about doing this using the novels of the 21st century as a roadmap. So their source files are 2.72 terabytes. That's it of personal data. Includes. That's not that much.
I have more than that on my USB card. No, not really. Not really.
I mean, this feels dated for a future novel. Anyway, so that much data of personal data includes images, archival records, log files, security reports, etc., etc., etc. So all of these things show Sen's struggles, and her struggles are to persist in the face of impending death. And then the AI works to unfurl the tale of Sen's whole life, offering up an increasingly intimate narrative until they are confronted with a very human problem of their own. So it sounds interesting. This is clearly a dystopian sci-fi novel. It is called Afterworld by Debbie Urbanski.
All right. for those of you that are watching us on video instead of just listening to the podcast, we are throwing a picture of the book on the screen. Thank you, Restream, for having this possibility in your streaming software. There's a little scan. Oh my gosh, you just forgot the word QR code. I'm having a day. This is caffeine. I promise to drink some. There's a QR code on the screen you can scan to check out the book, look at it, and if you want to buy it over on Amazon, it'll actually take you to our Shopify store first, and then you'll be able to click shop on Amazon. It's this affiliate system that we have to use. Anyway, we don't want to just tell you about an awesome book and not show you where you can find out more info or shop for it.
Yes.
Also, you might have just seen me plugging in my headphones. They weren't plugged in. And I was like, why does Katie sound like she's echoing? Oh, I'm having a day.
It's okay.
My reward was when we finish this podcast, which I love doing. My reward is I get to go read a dark book for like an hour, but then it's gloomy and I'm going to take a nap.
I feel you there.
Okay, so my first book today is set in the Aliens universe, and it's about Bishop.
Oh,
remember
that's
the
cool.
sexy android robot from the first Alien movie? I had a crush, or I thought the character was sexy, not because he was a robot. He just, Lance Henriksen, the actor, looked really handsome as that. Now, however, the actor himself was perfectly pleasant looking, but in any other role, I was like, oh, Lance Henriksen. But when he played Bishop, I was like, hey, baby.
Oh.
I don't know why. I'm just sharing personal info right now. So, this is Aliens Bishop by T.R. Napper. And a napper is what I'm going to be this afternoon when I'm napping.
See, perfect.
It comes out December 5. It is a direct sequel to Aliens and Alien 3. And I like to pretend Alien 3 didn't happen. So, it features Bishop's creator and the Colonial Marines. And they're all pursuing the android for the deadly xenomorph data that's contained in his brain. So although the synthetic Bishop asked to be shut down forever, his creator has other plans. Michael Bishop seeks the xenomorph knowledge stored in the android's mind and brings Bishop back to life. Ooh, I have one more chance at him. No, I'm just kidding. This is not a kinky podcast, I promise. But for what reason? He's no longer an employee of the Wayland-Yutani Corporation. So Michael tells his creation he seeks to advance medical research for the benefit of humanity. And the sweet little android robot dude is like, oh, sure.
Oh.
So it's actually, there's a lot of action apparently because the USCSS Patna is pursued by Colonial Marines Captain Marcel Apone, commander of the Ilkond, or the Tukon. I can't see the difference between an I and an L. Anyway, a whole bunch of people are trying to find Bishop, and this is Aliens Bishop. It comes out December 5.
That sounds fun. I like that perspective. That's very cool.
What's your next book?
It is The Curse of Penryth Hall, a mystery novel, which I'm shocked. I thought you didn't like mystery novels very much, Carrie.
I don't, but look at that beautiful cover.
It is stunning. I love the apples on here. It is by Jess Armstrong. So here's what it's a gothic mystery, so that makes more sense. Yes.
That's what.
Yes. It beautifully brings the ancient Cornish countryside to life. Ooh. After the Great War, American heiress Ruby Vaughn made a life for herself running a rare bookstore along her octogenarian employer and housemate in Exeter. She's always avoided dwelling on the past, even before the war, but it always has a way of finding her, as the past always does. When Ruby is forced to deliver a box of books to a folk healer living deep in the Cornish countryside, she is brought back to the one place she swore she would never return to. A more sensible soul would have delivered the package and left without rehashing old wounds, but no one has ever accused Ruby of being sensible.
Now, am I the only person getting Little Red Riding Hood vibes? She's taking a little box through the forest to a lady in a hut? I don't know.
Ooh.
And it's not her grandmother, but I'm just saying.
That might actually, I kind of like that. So there's a foreboding fortress. Penryth Hall is home to Ruby's once dearest friend, Tamsin, and her husband, Sir Edward Chenoweth. I hope I said that right. Chenoweth. It's an unsettling place, and after a more unsettling evening, Ruby is eager to depart. But her plans change when Penryth Penryth's bells ring for the first time in 30 years. Edward is dead. He met a gruesome end in the orchard, and with his death brings whispers of a returned curse.
What are all these Deadly Orchard books coming out about for? There was literally a book that came out in October called The Orchard or The Black Orchard or something.
Yes, and I really want to read it about poisoned orchards.
Maybe
love
this
it.
is a new trend, Deadly Orchards, and that makes me nervous because my vacation house is surrounded by apple orchards.
It is. Oh,
crap.
Or you could be the witch of the orchard. That would be super
maybe
cool.
I'm the Deadly Orchardist.
So these death whispers also bring Ruin Kivel, the person whose books brought her, Ruby, to Cornwall, the one the locals call a peller, the man they believe can break the curse. Ruby doesn't believe in curses or pellers, but this is Cornwall, and to these villagers, the curse is anything but lore, and they believe it will soon claim its next victim, who is Tamsin. So to protect her friend, Ruby must work alongside the peller to find out what really happened in the orchard that night. This book sounds fun. I think you should get this, Carrie. This is The Curse of Penryth Hall. This is by Jess Armstrong.
My next book is Dark Encounters, a collection of ghost stories. And I love ghost story collections. I leave them, in the bathroom for guests and myself, because then you can just read a story.
Yeah.
It is classic and elegantly unsettling ghost stories, a spine-tingling collection. There's a demonic text that leaves its readers strangled in the murderous specter of a feudal baron. What?
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that.
It's recommended for those who seek out the unnerving, the unknowing, and the unexplainable. Unfortunately, we do not have a way to open it up and see exactly who the authors are that they collected in here.
No.
It does feature a rare story called The McGregor Skull, which was the last story ever written by the author and posthumously serialized in The Scotsman in 1963. So that's about all I know about this one. The author is William Croft Dickinson, and it comes out December 5, which is yesterday.
Ooh. Okay, so my next book is called The Daughters of Block Island. This is by Christa Carmen, and this came out December 1st. In this ingenious and subversive twist on the classic Gothic novel, the mysterious past of an island mansion lures two sisters into a spiderweb of scandals, secrets, and murder.
What is it lately with all the houses that are set on creepy islands, too? That's a new trend, too.
Yeah, it actually is. That's so true.
I'm loving it. I'm not complaining.
I love that one for sure. We have two sisters. Strangers since birth, yet bound by family secrets. I think a lot of us have sibling things like this. They are caught up in a century-old mystery on an isolated island. After arriving on Block Island to find her birth mother, Blake becomes convinced she's the heroine of a Gothic novel, the kind that allowed her to intermittent escape. It allowed her intermittent escape from a traumatic childhood. How else to explain the torrential rain, the salt-worn mansion known as White Hall, and the restless ghost purported to haunt its halls? But before Blake can discern the novel's ending, she's found dead, murdered in a clawfoot tub. The proprietress of White Hall stands accused. So, summoned by a letter sent from Blake before she died, Talia Mills returns to the island she swore she'd left for good. She finds that Blake wasn't the first to die at Whitehall under suspicious circumstances. Talia must uncover the real reason for Blake's demise before the forces conspire to keep Block Island's secrets dead and buried rise up to consume her too. This sounds like a good haunted story. This is The Daughters of Block Island by Christa Carmen.
I'm never bathing in a clawfoot tub ever again.
I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to do that, actually.
My next book is a little silly, or should I say fun, because I'm not judging. It's Death in the Dark Woods, a monster hunter mystery. It's by Annelise Ryan. It comes out December 12. A potential Bigfoot sighting is linked to a vicious murder, But skeptical cryptozoologist Morgan Carter is on the case in this new Monster Hunter mystery. Believe it or not, it's not a YA book, it is for adults. So, business has been booming since Morgan Carter solved the case of the monster living in Lake Michigan. Good on you. The Odds and Ends bookstore is thriving, of course, as all bookstores should, and I'm doing my part, I guarantee you. But Morgan is most excited by the doors that were opened for her as a cryptid hunter. Recently, there have been numerous sightings of a Bigfoot-type creature in the, Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest, pardon me, I've never seen those words before,
Wow.
area of Bayfield County, Wisconsin. After a man is found dead from a vicious throat injury in the forest, the conservation warden asks Morgan to investigate, as you would. When Morgan and her dog, Newt, go there to investigate, they uncover a trail of lies, deception, and murder. It seems a mysterious creature is indeed living in the forest, and Morgan might be its next target. Ah!
Ooh.
That's Death in the Dark Woods, a Monster Hunter mystery, and it definitely does not sound boring. It comes out
No.
December 12th by Annelise Ryan.
All right, my next book is The Folly. This comes out or came out December 5th, so yesterday. This is by Gemma Amor. Morgan always knew her father, Owen, never murdered her mother. There's so much murder mystery happening this month. It's great.
It is December.
Okay, so sorry. So Morgan always knew her father, never murdered her mother, and has spent the last 6 years campaigning for his release from prison. Oh, finally he's set free, but they can no longer live in the house that was last decorated by her mother's blood. Salvation comes in the form of a tall, dark, and notorious decorative granite tower on the Cornish coastline. Yes, known only as the Folly. So the owner makes them an offer. Take care of the Folly, and you can live there. And it really is probably the best offer ever. At first, the Folly is idyllic, but soon a stranger arrives who acts like Morgan's mother, talks like her, and wears her dead mother's clothes. Is the stranger hell-bent on vengeance, in touch with her restless mother's spirit itself, or just simply deranged? And most importantly, what exactly happened the night Morgan's mother died? So this sounds really interesting. Apparently, this is an atmospheric nod to the lighthouse. This sounds fun. I think I might, if I have some time, I might pick it up. But yes, more Cornish murder mystery gothic novels. If you are interested, this is called The Folly. It's by Gemma Amor. What is next for you, Carrie?
It is called Lest She Forget.
Ooh.
It's by Lisa Malice. Perfect last name for a thriller author.
God,
It comes out December 12th. Haunted by a forgotten past, hunted by a ruthless killer, no one to save her but herself. After surviving a car crash, Kay Smith wakes from a coma with amnesia, a battered face, and no one to vouch for her identity. That would suck. Her psychiatrist is convinced that her memory loss is connected to the horrific flashbacks and nightmares that are haunting her. Sounds fair?
Yes.
As she digs for clues to her past, Kay uncovers a deadly character following her every inquiry. Sounds like he tried to kill her in the car crash and failed?
Yeah.
Who is he and what does he want from her? As Kay's probes deepen, she realizes that everyone around her has deadly secrets to hide, even her. Emerging memories, guilty suspicions, and headline-screaming murders push Kay to come out of the shadows and choose. Will she perpetuate a horrendous lie or risk her life to uncover the truth? That sounds so good. The publisher is Camcat Books, and they come out with lots of good suspense books. So This is Lest She Forget by Lisa Malice.
Okay, so my next book is a medical thriller, which I don't think I've read a medical thriller.
They're so good.
Yeah, this sounds fun. It's called Manner of Death. It came out yesterday, December 5th. It is by Robin Cook. After Dr. Jack Stapleton's near-death confrontation with a medical serial killer, his wife, NYC Chief Medical Examiner Lori Montgomery, is carrying the load both at work and at home. When Lori insists that Dr. Ryan Sullivan, oh no, we're so many characters already, Okay. An underperforming senior pathology resident who is spending his required month at the medical examiner's office, but who truly detests doing forensic autopsies, assists her on a suicide autopsy in hopes of stimulating his interest in the field. The last thing she expects is to be unwittingly drawn into a major conspiracy that puts her own life in jeopardy. Okay, there's a lot going on right now. So desperate to avoid performing as many forensic autopsies as possible, Dr. Ryan Sullivan offers to participate in a research project on a series of suicides put together by one of the medical legal investigators. These suicides, like the case Ryan analyzes with Lori, hint at some bothersome questions about their, quote, manner of death. Although the project was more of a ruse than a serious study, Ryan surprises himself by immediately uncovering unexpected shared commonalities. Most astonishing of all, Ryan's inquiries eventually put him and Lori at risk by leading to a nefarious cancer diagnostics company that promotes the very latest groundbreaking cancer screening technology in a shockingly self-serving and fraudulent fashion. Wow, there's a lot going on here. I might try it. We'll see. This is called Manner of Death. This is by Robin Cook, a medical thriller. I love that.
That might be perfect to take with you on a Christmas airplane ride or road trip. Luckily,
Yeah.
Katie and I don't have to do that because we live close by and I don't have to go visit anybody. And because you're hosting Christmas brunch, I don't have to drive up to your parents. Thank you.
You're welcome. And yes, it's true. It was all planned.
My next book is Prophet Song, and I wasn't sure as I was doing the research for this month. I was like, is this dark enough, or what is this book about? And so I went over to Goodreads, and the first review I read was like, oh my god, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this book. Holy crap, it's the darkest book I ever read. I'm like, did you ever read The Road? But anyway, so let me try to explain what this is about. Prophet Song is by Paul Lynch. It's in the literature and fiction, genre fiction category over on Amazon. It came out yesterday, December 5. It won the Booker Prize for 2023. So that's a huge deal. Publisher is Atlantic Monthly Press. On a dark, wet evening in Dublin, scientist and mother of four, Eilish, I hope I said that right, Stack, answers her front door to find two officers from Ireland's newly formed secret police on her step. They have arrived to interrogate her husband, a trade unionist. Oh boy. Governments don't like trade union people. Okay. So in this book, Ireland is falling apart, caught in the grip of a government that's turning towards tyranny. Reminds me of somewhere I live. As the life that she knows and the people that she loves disappear before her eyes, Eilish must contend with the dystopian logic of her new unraveling country. How far will she go to save her family, and what or who is she willing to leave behind? So here's what the publisher said. The winner of the Booker Prize for 2023, Prophet Song, presents a terrifying and shocking vision of a country sliding into authoritarianism and a deeply human portrait of a mother's fight to hold her family together. I'm in. I am buying this. I am so curious. That's Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. Be sure to go over to Goodreads and read some of the reviews. I didn't see a bunch of spoilers, but it was very intriguing.
And they're usually pretty good at Goodreads to cover the spoilers too. So yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm glad you found that. My next book today is called Salt and Broom. And if you are watching over, you are watching over on YouTube or wherever, it's got a visual here. This cover's cool, right? But if you are listening to our podcast, check out our recording as well. All right. So Salt and Broom. This came out December 1st. It's by Sharon Lynn Fisher. Apparently, this is a witchy retelling of Jane Eyre or Jane Eyre. I know I say that incorrectly, Carrie. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is fun. It says, Salt and Broom make this room safe and tight against the night. Trunks packed with potions and cures, Jane Eyre sets out on a crisp, clear morning in October to face the greatest challenge of her sheltered girls' school existence. A shadow lies over Thornfield Hall and its reclusive master, Edward Rochester, and he's hired her only as a last resort. Jane stumbles again and again as she tries to establish a rapport with her prickly new employer, but he becomes the least of her worries as a mysterious force seems to work against her. The threats mount around both Jane and Rochester, who's becoming more and more intriguing and appealing to her by the day. Jane begins to fear her herb healing and protective charms may not be enough to save the man she's growing to love from a threat darker and more dangerous than either of them imagined.
I'm in.
I know. I was like, this is going to be a big Carrie book week or month, actually.
I am sick of books where women fall in love with the guy that's acting like a jerk. But that said, Pride and Prejudice is my favorite Jane Austen novel. So, yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to love enemies to lovers for some reason. Like, I love it too. This sounds great, and I want to read it too. This is called Salt and Broom. This is by Sharon Lynn Fisher.
Our next book is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. It is book 1 of the upcoming Nightborn duet,
Ooh.
Crowns of Nyaxia, book 1. The author is Carissa Broadbent. This came out yesterday, December 5. It's described as The Hunger Games meets vampires. I'm in.
I mean, yay. I love that.
It's an epic fantasy romance with dark magic and bloodthirsty intrigue. So for humans and vampires, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always, always guard your heart. The adopted human daughter of the Nightborn vampire king, Oriya carved her place in a world designed to kill her. Her only chance to become something more than prey is entering the Kajari, a legendary tournament held by the goddess of death herself. That sounds fun.
Ooh.
That's a party. But winning won't be easy amongst the most vicious warriors from all 3 vampire houses. To survive, Oriya is forced to make an alliance with a mysterious rival. Everything about Rain, Raihn, is dangerous. He's a ruthless vampire, that's the sexiest kind, an efficient killer, an enemy to her father's crown, and her greatest competition. Yet, what terrifies Oriya most of all is that she finds herself, you can guess, oddly drawn to him.
Of course. Yes.
But there's no room for compassion in the Kajari. War for the House of Night brews, shattering everything that Oriya thought she knew about her home. And Rain may understand her more than anyone, but their blossoming attraction could be her downfall in a kingdom where nothing is more deadly than love. That's so dramatic.
It is so dramatic.
I think I'm in. That would be a good guilty pleasure read. Like I'm on the couch, I'm eating Oreos, which I'm not supposed to be eating, and I'm munching on them, and I'm drinking too much wine and reading this book and giggling. You can just picture it.
Oh, I love that. I love that whole thing.
This is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent.
Okay, so my next one, this is another AI techno creepy dystopian thing, I guess. This is called Sunny. It is by Colin O'Sullivan, and it comes out December 5th. This is apparently going to be a series on one of these streaming services. Ooh. So I'm excited. This is a technological thriller following a woman whose life is upended when her husband and son disappear in a mysterious plane crash. And she is left alone with an unnerving home robot, only to get caught up in the AI-related conspiracy. So in near future Japan, we have Susie Sakamoto is mourning the loss of her husband and son, alone in her big modern house, which feels more like a prison. Susie spends her days drinking heavily and taking her anger out at the only, quote, sentient thing left in her life, which is Sunny. And that is a very annoying home robot her husband designed. Susie despises Sunny and sometimes even gets a sinking feeling that Sunny is out to hurt her.
Oh.
So, to escape her paranoia and depression, Susie frequents the seedy, drug-fueled bars of the city where she
That's
hears what
I'm like, that's not a good plan, lady. That's not how we cope with our stress, you
I
idiot.
know she's doing what is that called? Self-sabotaging a little bit. She's like,
Oh,
I hate this robot that's supposed to be positive. I want to
I'm
go
gonna go
somewhere
drink.
horrible. God. Okay, so there's this place called the Dark Manual. Oh, sorry, let me read this again. Okay, so she hears about a rumor of something called the Dark Manual, and it's a set of guidelines that allow you to reprogram your robot for nefarious purposes. In the hopes of finding a way to turn off Sunny for good, Susie begins to search for this manual. I love that all she needs is an off button. This is all she needs is an off button. So only to learn it's too late. The machines are becoming more and more sentient and dangerous. Thrust into the center of a dark corporate war, Susie realizes there's someone behind the code pulling the strings, and they want her dead. Apparently, this is a darkly humorous yet propulsive lyrical book. I kind of dig it. I think this would be really, really funny. It's apparently gripping, thought provoking, and Sunny is like one of those weird, haunting characters where he's like, "Hello, I'm a happy robot. I'm
As
here to kill
every
you."
pop culture movie robot ever is like, hi.
I know.
Except for Hal.
Right. Oh God. Yeah, Hal just makes it really obvious. So this is Sunny. This is by Colin O'Sullivan.
I'm just glad that for now that's a fiction book. Because soon it'll be nonfiction.
Stop!
Oh, these
I
sentient
know.
robots.
Oh God. Jeez.
So my next book, and I don't know why our QR code scanner isn't showing the cover of it, it's showing the back of it,
No.
is Yours for the Taking by Gabrielle Korn. Comes out December 5, a big, big publishing day. I guess it's weird that I went to a bookstore yesterday on New Release Tuesday and bought nothing. Wow. I was being so good.
Yeah.
So in Yours for the Taking, the year is 2050. That's actually not as far off as it sounds, people.
I know. Oh.
Ava and her girlfriend live in what's left of Brooklyn, and though they love each other, it's hard to find happiness while the effects of climate change rapidly eclipse their world. Soon it won't be safe outside at all. The only people guaranteed survival are the ones whose applications are accepted to the Inside Project, a series of weather-safe, city-sized structures around the world. I want in!
Yeah.
So Jacqueline is a reclusive billionaire and a women's rights advocate. Okay, I like her so far. And thanks to a generous donation from her, she's just become the director of the Inside that's being built on the bones of Manhattan. Her ideas are unorthodox yet alluring. She's built a whole brand around rethinking the very concept of empowerment. Now, our next character is Shelby, a business major from a working class family, and she's drawn to Jacqueline's promises of power and impact. And she lands her dream job as Jacqueline's personal assistant and instantly swept up into the glamorous world of corporatized feminism. Also drawn into Jacqueline's orbit is Olympia, who's finishing up medical school when Jacqueline recruits her to run the health department inside. But the more Olympia learns about the project, the more she realizes there's something much larger at play.
Of course.
Ava is accepted to live inside, but her girlfriend isn't, and she's forced to go alone. Well, I'm guessing she made a choice to go without her. Whatever. Her heartbreak is quickly replaced with a feeling of belonging. Inside seems like it's the safe space she's been searching for most of the time. Other times, she can't shake the feeling that something is deeply off. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything. So that was Yours for the Taking, a novel.
All right, so my final book of today is called What Waits in the Woods, and this comes out the day after Christmas, so December 26th. It is by Terry Parlato. It is a suburban thriller. I like all of these subsects of thrillers. They're fun. So when Esme Foster left the Boston suburbs to become a professional ballerina, the future shimmered with promise. 11 years later, her career has been derailed by an injury, and Esme knows it's time to come back to Greybridge to help her brother care for her ailing father. But her return coincides with an unthinkable crime. Cara Cunningham, one of Esme's high school friends, is found dead in the woods behind the Foster's house. Esme is shocked and grieving, but also uneasy. In her dreams, she still sees the man who showed up at the scene of a car accident that killed her mother and told Esme he was going to kill her too. Family and friends insisted that the figure was a product of Esme's imagination, which, yes, I would also say that too. And this is because she had a concussion after the crash. But she and Cara looked alike, sharing the same petite build, the same hair color. Could Cara's murder have been a case of mistaken identity? Then we have Detective Rita Myers. So she's familiar with the close-knit communities like Greybridge, where beneath the friendliness, there are whispers and secrets. The town has seen other tragedies too, including the long-ago drowning of a young girl in a pond deep in the woods. Even within the once close circle of friends that included Cara and Esme, Rita discerns a ripple of mistrust. Day by day, Esme discovers more about the place she left behind and the friends and family that she thought she knew. Soon, shining a light into the darkness to learn what really happened the night Cara died is the only way she can bring the nightmare to an end. So this sounds like a pretty traditional thriller. It sounds pretty good. It's called What Waits in the Woods by Terry Perlotto.
My final book today, speaking of waiting, is Where the Dead Wait, a novel.
Ooh.
And the cover's really cool, but my QR scanner is not showing it to you.
Grr.
It's by Allie Wilkes. It came out yesterday, December 5. It's an eerie, atmospheric, polar gothic book following a Victorian explorer in search of his lost shipmate and his own redemption. So William Day should be an acclaimed Arctic explorer, but after a failed expedition, and there were lots of those in the 1800s and early 1900s, to be honest, his remaining men only survived by eating their dead comrades, as you do. He returned in disgrace. Well, fair enough. So 13 years later, lucky number 13, his second in command, Jesse Stevens, has gone missing in the same frozen waters. Perhaps this is Day's chance to restore his tarnished reputation by bringing Stevens, the man who's haunted his whole life, back home. But when the rescue mission becomes an uncanny journey into his past, they must face up to the things he's done. Abandonment, betrayal, cannibalism. Aboard ship, Day must also contend with unwanted passengers, a reporter who's obsessively digging up the truth about the first expedition, as well as Stephen's wife, a spirit medium there's a lot going on in this book.
Wow.
A spirit medium whose seances both fascinate and frighten. Following a trail of cryptic messages, gaunt bodies, and old bones, their search becomes more and more unnerving, as it becomes clear that the restless dead are never far behind. Something is coming through. Oh. That's Where the Dead Wait, and it's by Allie Wilkes, and that would be the perfect snowy day read. Bundle up, Buttercup.
Don't tell me that's in the publisher notes.
No, I just made that up myself.
I love that you did that, but I was like, publisher, come on. Bundle up, Buttercup.
That is the end of our Dark Side of the Library dark fiction for December 2023. But I wanted to quickly, because we are on camera, and we're mirroring the camera, I wanted to show you a quick peek through The Nightmare Before Christmas, the official baking book. I might have to get rid of Katie for a second. Hold on, don't leave. Oh, there, that's better. That's better. This is a really fun book that I recommend as a gift for your gothy friends or teenagers that you're not quite sure what to do for them. None of us are probably ever going to successfully build that mayor cake that I just showed you.
Oh, man,
it's pretty hard, but I mean, never say never. Maybe some of you are way more talented than me. Pink Easter Bunny from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Let me show you the mayor because it's pretty amazing. Oh, this is a show-stopping Black Kitty chocolate cake. And they're called spectacle cakes. There's the snake from Under the Christmas Tree, and you make them with brown and orange M&Ms. There's a pumpkin head tres leches cake. Yum. That would be doable.
Yeah.
The black cat cake is a banana cake. That sounds good. Here is the two-faced mayor red velvet cake. So when you cut him open, he has red velvet, but you also have to make both sides, the smiling side and the worried side.
Oh, cute.
So The Nightmare Before Christmas, the official baking book, which unfortunately my camera is showing backwards, is $19.57 on Amazon today. It's on sale. It's usually $27.99. So I just wanted to give you a quick little flip through. So Katie, tell us about the next podcast episodes that are coming up all through December 2023.
Sure. So we are going to continue to try to navigate this awesome QR thing, because I know a lot of people do join our live streams and they're like, oh, where are these books? So now you get a whole list of them, and you can find all of these get linked in the chat as we click through. So you can see in our chats all of the links that are going to be there with all the books. We will be doing a podcast every Wednesday and sometimes on Fridays throughout December and for 2024 as well. We have YA, kids books, comic books, and we also have, of course, nonfiction, which is kind of my favorite thing to read in wintertime for some reason. I don't know. I feel studious, I guess, during that period. So make sure to join us on Wednesdays and Fridays for those. And make sure to spread this podcast to your friends, family, loved ones, anybody that likes gothic and spooky reads. We appreciate y'all for tuning in today and checking us out. Thank you so much. We will see you in the next live stream or podcast episode.